What's up, everybody? This is Chris Nichols, and you're listening to an episode of the Nichols and Dimes Show featuring Julian Bradley. Enjoy.
You don't know what I'm about to do. Big explosion, get away right now. She's heating up, you're still acting full. Slow down, man, I just don't know how. You don't know what I'm about to do.
Julian, what's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good, dude. Thanks for doing this with me.
I appreciate you having me on here. I'm just looking forward to adding value to the audience, my brother.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm confident that you will with all the stuff you've been up to and stuff I've seen you do. But my goodness, man, what a view you got here. Love your spot here in Mission Beach.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's a blessing. God is good.
Yep,
and
sure is.
It's crazy how I actually manifested it, but life works out like that when you set an intention and you're very clear on what you want and you just focus on what you want and things seem to work out.
Yeah, well, I think what you just said is going to be a big theme in our show today, given what you focus on. And let me get into the introduction for you here for the audience. So guys, I'm here today with Julian Bradley, who is a full-time real estate investor, speaker, and peak performance coach. He also manages Airbnb vacation rental and marketing consulting companies. One of Julian's career highlights was actually a TED Talk he did around personal development. Yeah. So like I said, I think we have a theme here, which we'll definitely cover, of course. But Julian is originally from Philadelphia and has been in San Diego since 2018 and clearly has manifested a lot just from seeing his life on, real life, honestly. I was going to say social media, but I don't want to mislead the audience here. It is real because I do know you a bit and we've gotten to know each other in San Diego. It's been a blessing of a life that we share out here, man.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. It's a great community, great people, great environment. Nothing else I can ask for.
Yeah. Man, dude. Well, you've got a ton going on just from that intro. I almost stumbled over my words.
Yeah, dude. I do have a lot going on, but it didn't all happen simultaneously.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. So I guess that's going to be a big thing I want to ask about is what came first. But maybe let's start off with how you grew up. So Philly, what was your life like? And then what was your experience going to college and then immediately after that? Yeah,
I want to say growing up, I've had an amazing childhood, always great supportive parents. My parents have been one of my key backbones along with my grandparents as well. And always been in arts, sports, school, and these things were like really important to me. But one of the main things that was important to me was like being able to create what I want in my own life.
Yeah.
And I'll take it back to high school where everything changed. I was currently at the time working for Best Buy, and I was one of the top computer salespeople. And what really was the aha moment was I was getting paid just as much as the person who sucked. And it was kind of frustrating. And at the time, I got an email and a flyer to join an interview for Cutco. And at the time, it was like $18.50 per appointment. And I was like, wait, what? Call them up, get scheduled for an interview. Long story short, the first week, I ended up selling $8,000 worth of the product.
Damn. Was this the Cutco? Is that the
kitchen
knife?
cutlery?
Yeah,
knives,
okay.
Yeah. And it was crazy because the first week, I studied so much the scripts and understand it so well that people thought I'd been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Fast forward at the end of the summer, I made $30,000 my first summer. I was 17. And that was like an aha moment for me. It was like, okay, sales is something that I can flourish in and something that doesn't have a cap.
Yeah.
And someone can't tell me how much I can make. It's only up to me. And that gave me a whole bunch of skills that transferred throughout my whole life. And fast forward to 18. I was able to open up my own office, hire, interview, train people. I had receptionists. I was running sales meetings as well.
Wow.
And, it was just a whole eye-opening experience to being able to really level up my responsibilities as an entrepreneur. And that really got me interested in development, sales development, team development. It was so interesting, too, because I remember at that time when I made that money, I was money hungry. That was my drive at the time.
Yeah.
And I started to ask everybody who was successful in my company, hey, how can I make more money? How can I make more money? And everybody looked at me and said, you're asking the wrong question. You need to become a better person. And I was like, well, what? I was like, what does that mean? Like, am I not a good person? I said, no, you are a good person, but you're focusing on the wrong end result. You need to become more of a person of value, so that way you'll make more money just naturally by being more of value.
What kind of people were telling you this?
Managers, other salespeople who were, crushing it, doing better than me. Just basically everyone who's making more money than I was at the time. I was just asking, like, hey, how can I make even more, right?
Yeah.
And at that time, they were like, hey, you should start going to Tony Robbins. You should start reading these books. You should start going to these conferences. Tony Robbins was the conference that everyone was going to the next month.
Yeah.
I bought a ticket. Now I'm 18 at Tony Robbins. My whole eyes opened up to everything that he was sharing. NLP. I started diving deep into that, and really personal development started to be something in my life that not only that I can read and ingest and learn, but I can actually apply. And I was actually able to see tangible results in my life. And that really changed the game, because around the same time, they started putting me on stages. And the national average order was like 850. Mine was like, the national average order was like 250.
Yeah.
Mine was 850. And and I was selling in not probably like the best areas. So my sales tactics were the ones that were helping me get the higher close rates, the higher orders and everything. And I started to share that on stage. Everyone who was listening got similar results, was crushing it. And I started to share from stage a lot of sales things, but then I started to think to myself, man, this isn't all about just the sales.
Yeah.
Like, I just did this in my life in this area, and I got this result. And I got super excited about this. And I just wanted to share the different things that I was learning in my life, and how I could apply it in my life, my business, and how other people could do it too as well and get similar results. And that really fired me up. And that kind of opened me up to start to speak. And that opened me up to a whole bunch of different things of just being a person of value.
Yeah.
Learning so much as I can, and implement as much as I can, just so I can share my experiences with others and help others get great experiences too.
Okay. So to back up a little bit, you basically got right into a couple of different sales jobs. One that wasn't really commission based, right?
Yeah.
At you said Best Buy.
Yeah.
And then you got into more of a commission based role at Cutco.
Yep.
So how long were you doing these sales roles before you went off and started? It was essentially your own sales coaching business, right?
Yeah. I started doing that for a couple years, about 2 or 3 years, and I was sitting down with hundreds of parents at their dinner table, and they were saying, hey, I wish you could teach this to my kid. I wish they taught this in school. I wish that you could teach this to our employees, all of that. And I started to do that individually. And then I started to think to myself, man, where is the root cause of people's, not ignorance, but there's a lot of ignorance when it comes to personal development, because more people I find are more interested in entertainment than actually learning more about themselves, how to talk to themselves, how to motivate themselves. And to me, it was like, I saw so many of my friends be so interested in sports, entertainment, everything else that you can think of besides themselves. And when I ask them deep questions about themselves, you get a blank stare. But then if you ask them about like their favorite player, actor, whatever, their favorite sports team, they could talk for days.
Wow.
So then I started to think, I think a lot of the reasons why people are unhappy are, especially when they go to college and afterwards, is because they're following someone else's path that they had designed for them. And it wasn't designed by themselves. And the reason why they didn't design it for themselves was because they didn't ask themselves the right questions to get clarity. And clarity creates confidence, and confidence creates, momentum, right? And I feel like a lot of times people are just following other people in sheep of herd. Oh, they're doing this. My friends are doing this. We're all going to the same school. We're all doing this. And
so true.
Sometimes that's not your path, and that could happen later on down the road, and you may have to switch majors. You may have to do different things and alter your course, but it's about the awareness. And so I started a company called Success for Scholars, which helps bridge the gap between traditional education and personal development.
Okay.
And it teaches the students the habits, the mindset, and the skills that the most successful people use that they don't touch on in school. But it's the common knowledge to a high-level entrepreneur or somebody who is really self-sufficient and producing value for a community.
When did you start that company?
I did that right after I left doing financial advising. So
Okay.
I got my license to be a financial advisor, and did well with that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I had to do a hard pivot with was every single time one of my managers or one of the higher ups would congratulate me on how well I'm doing and talk about how great of a career I would have there. Every time they mentioned career, my stomach cringed. And
because it made it seem like kind of a corporate world path to someone else's idea.
it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right, and it felt like it wasn't my path.
Yeah.
And it felt like this was something that I shouldn't go down further. And so I made the decision to stop that and to go do that with Successful Scholars full time.
Okay.
Now at that time, I was getting it implemented into schools. I was consulting, teachers, principals, students, psychologists, neurologists, all these different people to help me create the best program that I can have to implement and change people's lives. And the crazy part was I was getting so frustrated because I was working with schools and school districts, and a lot of schools, they only cared about the things that were going to make their school look better, i.e. tests on grammar, geology, all these random things, math, sciences, all of those things that schools test for to get certain grants and different things. And it was really frustrating. Because a lot of the things that I was trying to share necessarily weren't tangible things that schools were looking for, but they were so important to just development of actual human character. So around this time, my dad actually came to me and he said, "Hey, I gave you this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, a while ago. I know you really enjoyed it. He's having a seminar coming up.
Okay.
Is that something you'll be interested in going?" I said, "Sure, let's go." So I get all excited, and I'm like, "Wow, Dad, this is amazing." Now, at the time, I bought this BMW cash, and I was thinking to myself, "Man, I don't have any more cash to buy this $24,000 program. But what I can do is I can sell my car."
$24,000 program.
Yeah, his program was like 24 grand. Oof. Yeah, for his real estate coaching.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, "Hey, Dad, I think I'm going to sell my car, get this training, learn it, do a few deals, buy my car back again, and have the skill and be able to do this." And my dad said to me, "They're not teaching anything that hasn't been done before, and they're not the only person teaching this. I know you're excited about doing this, but let's look at some other options that might be more affordable." So I was like kind of disappointed, but I was like, "All right, Dad, that's fine." So what I ended up doing was I ended up going around it a pretty awesome ninja way. I went to some of my local meetups, and I looked up local meetups for real estate, and I went there early, met the person who's running the event, and I made it a point to always help them unpack their car, set up, and then I would stay late, and I would help them pack up and put the stuff away. And I would do that every week. And after a few weeks, and just being a person of great energy and great spirit, they said to me, "Hey, I'm about to be learning this from one of my friends. Do you mind, hanging in around for lunch? You want to meet this person?" So it was great because all of the coordinators that I was connecting with through the actual leader were introducing me to their peer group. And I ended up hacking, the group and being able to learn from people who are way farther ahead of me. And I think that was like one of the biggest things that helped me change the game, because a lot of times people always say to me, "Oh, how do you get your first multimillionaire mentor who's doing way more than what you're doing?" Right? And the thing is like a lot of times people think that you need to have money or something like that in order to get a mentor. That's not true. You need to have value.
Right.
And that value doesn't even necessarily mean the thing that you're seeking knowledge for, because the person, by definition, you don't know anything and you're seeking knowledge from this person. So what can you give to this other person, right? You can give them energy, right? Every time they're around you, it could be a breath of fresh air. It can be inspiring for them, right? They can see themselves in you, and they'll be willing to pour into you. You can help them by taking something that is off of their plate that is stressful, and maybe figuring out a way to make it more efficient, or even take care of it completely for them, right? And find ways to make their lives easier, and in return, naturally they're going to want to spend more time with you. And when opportunities come up, they're going to think of you.
Okay. So what you just described, that's cool, because now I'm finding, I'm seeing this connection of what you were advised early in your career around taking your focus off just making money to more being focused on, basically being a person of good value and energy, right? And that's kind of a more tangible way, I think, to define that, what you just said, right? Yeah, that's awesome, man. I do want to back up, though, because we kind of jumped, I think, at different points in your career, right? So let's go back to the sales coaching business you had. How long were you doing that for? Were you doing that like full time?
Full time, 4.5 years.
Okay, so only that, or were you still doing selling?
I was selling Cutco. That was like my full time thing.
Oh, so you were doing both at the same time?
So I was selling Cutco throughout college. From 17 to around 23, 24.
Yeah.
And that was like my main thing. I mean, my average order was on the low end around 500, and I was making 50% per sale, and I was having like 3 to 4 sales a day.
Wow.
So I would be easily making, sometimes $1,000, $2,000 a day in a few appointments.
Jeez, man.
And I was just running it.
Incredible. What would the knives each cost?
I mean, my favorite set to sell was a signature set, and that was like $13.95. And put on a payment plan, I think it broke down to like $265 a month for 6 months.
Okay.
And I broke it down as like, hey, it's an extra grocery bill for the next 6 months, but you have knives, it's guaranteed forever. No replace. You don't have to worry about replacement. You don't have to worry about anything else. Everything's going to be taken care of for you.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense to buy it once and never have to worry about it again.
Yep. Okay. So what came after the sales coaching business? How did you transition to the next thing?
The biggest thing for me was just like expanding my mind through other vehicles. I knew that Cutco was a great vehicle for where I was at in the time of my life, but I knew there was a higher income producing vehicles that created more freedom in my life, and I just wanted to see what else was out there. I've always been interested in real estate. I've always been interested in interior design. Been a big fan of HGTV. Always wanted to flip houses. So, when my dad told me, hey, like this is a seminar that's coming up for Rich Dad Poor Dad that'll teach you how to flip houses. Yeah. I said to myself, man, this is right up my alley. This is exactly what I need to learn more about. And going through those mentor meetups, seeing different real estate strategies, meeting other people in the business, I ended up meeting a mentor who was doing tax sale auctions. And he told me like, hey, like I'm going to this tax sale auction up in Reading, PA. I'm about to buy a couple of houses. I didn't know if you wanted to come along and potentially buy a house. And I said, sure. I came with $15,000 in a cashier's checks. Okay. That was my budget. And I was like,
I was just going to ask you, did you have money to do that?
Yeah, about $15,000 in cashier's checks. I bought a $10,000 piece and then 5 $1,000 checks. Okay. And I went there and ended up buying my first house. And I bought it for $12,000. And it was at a tax auction. Bought a $12,000 outright. And funny thing is, I thought it was vacant. But turns out it wasn't.
Okay, nice little surprise.
Yeah. So the way I found
mystery
out,
box.
The way I found out is actually next thing you know, I'm going to the house trying to knock on the door. Big pit bull almost jumps over the fence.
No,
and I'm like, no one was home. But
where was this?
It was in Reading, PA.
What kind of neighborhood was it?
It was not the greatest neighborhood. I mean, the house is $12,000, so I'll let you use your imagination.
It was actually $12,000 just for the
house I bought was $12,000. I mean, the house.
Oh my gosh! I thought you meant a down payment or something.
No, I bought it flat out, $12,000 cash.
Jeez.
So you can imagine.
Like a shack, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest. So.
So you had literally homeless people living in there.
No, they were homeless. They didn't know it yet.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, I'm like asking the neighbors, like, hey, like, do you know the person? I'm trying to get a hold of them. And they're like, here's the number. So I end up calling them. The guy, I remember it like it was yesterday. The wife answers the phone and I said, hey, my name is Julian. I don't know if my name rings a bell. Probably doesn't, but I was at a tax auction earlier today and I purchased your house. And I was just wondering, what were your plans moving forward?
Yeah.
And she was like, what? And I was like, well, I just purchased your house. And she's like, at what? At tax auction? She's like, yeah. Next thing you know, she calls her husband. She's yelling at him for like 5 minutes, and I'm like feeling bad for this guy. And he comes to the phone later, and he's like, "Hey, so I guess you bought the house, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." I was like, "So what are your plans moving forward?" And he said, "Well, man, I would love to still live here if I can." I said, "Well, yeah, I'm sure we could work something out." He said, "I'm only able to afford around $700 a month." And I was thinking to myself, I see the market value is $900 a month. I'm looking for $900 a month. We can do $700 for the first couple months, but if you aren't able to do $900, then we're gonna have to make some other arrangements.
Not a bad deal.
Stupidest decision I've ever made.
Okay.
So,
damn.
well, it's not the stupidest decision, but basically, when he moved out, I found out that the house is not really in livable condition, and he probably made it even worse because they were missing fixtures like toilets and sinks and everything. So it was like kind of really messed up.
And I'm sure they probably didn't take good care of it, given they knew they were on their way out.
Yeah, it was bad. So I ended up paying somebody $1,100 to clean up the place, get the trash out, and put a fresh coat of paint on there, and replace carpet in a couple rooms.
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was taking that and then selling that property for $47,000.
So from 12 to 47.
Yeah, I was in it for around like 13.1, give or take another 500 or whatever, and I ended up selling for 47,000. Like 3 or 4 months later, yeah.
3 or 4 months later,
Yeah.
Julian? How'd you do that? The fuck?
So the house was, it was not the greatest condition, and you make your money when you buy, and I literally I bought it at an auction, bidding against other people. I mean, I could have bought it for less, but $12,000 was like my cutoff, and I was almost up to my limit of what I had. Mind you, I only had about $3,000 left to kind of do everything. So flipping it in its entirety wasn't in the picture, because even to get a down payment for the construction and everything just didn't add up. So for me, I was like, well, how can I get in and out of this property? This is not an area that I want to be in. It's kind of far from my house. It took me an hour and a half to get there. So I was thinking to myself, like, I'm just going to paint it, make it nice, put it back on the MLS, and put it on the MLS. It wasn't on the MLS before, and get a sale. So I ended up selling it to an investor for $47,000. Cleared like around 30 grand from it. Yeah, got me a little bit of cash to move into my next deal
in less than half a year.
Yeah.
So you literally got almost a 400% return on your first house flip.
Yeah. So I wouldn't consider that a flip, because the level of flips that I do are major gut rehabs, almost to the point of like ground up construction. Okay. They're older houses in Philadelphia, and they're over like almost 100 years old, and they need a lot of joist work and foundation work and sewer pipes and everything else like that. It was a good learning experience. I thought that I was smart for trying to tell them to leave. Yeah. If they couldn't pay me $900 a month. Looking back at it, what I should have done is just kept them in there at $700 a month, had them pay me rent, and I could have had the house paid off by the end of the year almost.
Damn. Yeah.
And the house would have been a free and clear asset. I would owned it completely.
Is that why you said it was a worse decision to let them stay, those tenants?
Yeah, I think it was just it was a stupid decision by me, because I wanted an extra $200 a month, and it was greed.
Got it.
And for me, it was like I wanted to maximize this investment. Yeah. Instead of thinking like, these people have been living here for X amount of time. This is their home.
You weren't thinking long term.
I wasn't thinking long term. Yeah. And I could have had a long term tenant in there my house would have been paid off. That particular house. Yeah. Granted, making $30,000. Yeah. Really quick. Yeah. That was good for me at the time, because I needed that to move into my next deal. But if it wasn't for me, taking that and learning that experience, it really taught me a lot. Yeah, it taught me a lot. Not as much as nearly as much as all the other things I've learned in real estate. I mean, I've had contractors steal a lot of money. I've had fraud issues. I've had a lot of issues and back and forth in real estate court, and you know, it's that's been a learning experience in itself too. You're just figuring out who you can trust.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes even the people who you want to put trust in violate your trust and stab you in the back.
Yep.
And take your money. And sometimes when you have a really good heart and you look for the best in people, that isn't necessarily the best way to do business. I then started learning more about contracts, and I started learning more about actual law of real estate. And those have been like key essential things, because every single person who I've been mentored by, in some form or capacity, they've gotten fucked over in real estate. And it happened to do with usually a partner, a contract, or a seller, whatever. But it really taught me to dot my T's, cross my I. Cross my T's and dot my I's.
All right. So, you know, one thing that stood out to me when I was learning more about you, and just, of course, knowing this about you, was the TED Talk you did. You obviously got into various different coaching businesses throughout your career. How did and then you had mentioned earlier that you were asked to speak at certain events. How did that start? And then how did your TED Talk come to life?
Oh, wow. So how did it start? It just really started from me starting to post on social media the different things I was learning from books. And it was really interesting because every single day I was posting videos on Instagram, and it was a lot of work. And at first I wasn't getting a lot of traction. And I was thinking to myself, man, is a lot of people even seeing this?
Yeah.
After about a year, I get a message from somebody saying, hey, you know, I'm good friends with this TED Talk coordinator. She was asking me, who do you think will be a good fit for this next TED event we're doing? And I thought of you. Now, mind you, this person has never really engaged with any of my posts, but they've been watching my stuff for over a year.
Wow. And
she's like, I've been watching your stuff for a year, and I love your content, and I think you would be able to add a lot of value to our event.
Wow.
Would you like to do our TED Talk? And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Of course I would love to do a TED Talk. I actually wrote that down earlier that year that I wanted to do a TED Talk.
Really?
And I literally had that in my journal that I wanted to do a TED Talk. And it was so interesting that the work that I put in that I didn't think was going to be recognized, someone was looking. So it really goes to show you never know who's looking.
Unreal.
You never know who's paying attention, and you never know who you're impacting.
And that goes back also to the consistency.
Yeah, consistency. You're showing someone that you take it seriously. You want to help people. You want to impact people's lives. And you're not just here just to like make a few videos. Like, you really just want to help people. And I think that, you know, that's the best thing to me is just being able to share something that I've learned and implemented in my life that changed my life, and sharing that with somebody and getting them to see the results that they're getting is really fulfilling to me. I started mentoring a lot of younger students who were very promising, had a lot of potential. Some of them were, you know, going down the wrong path, and their parents wanted me to help them correct course, and some of them were already crushing it, and they just were looking for that next step and looking for someone who they can relate to, that they can, you know, put trust in. Because a lot of times I feel like when you're younger, your parents could say different things to you, but when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, man, you're really just trying to hear from somebody who is your age bracket, who's been doing what you want to do. And I feel like I was a great catalyst to help people see what's possible at my age.
Yeah.
And I still am. And this is a great way to just really share my knowledge and my love for helping people. Fast forward, I have an opportunity to speak and share a stage with Jeff Hoffman, multi-billionaire, one of my great friends.
Really?
To this day. He's an amazing influence in my life. And I was emceeing the event, and he absolutely loved how I was interacting with the kids, and when someone got rowdy or started to interrupt, I would manage and control the room very well and bring it back to on topic. And he really appreciated that, and he was like, man, we should definitely do some more work together. Fast forward, we've been on trips together around the world. We see each other at least a few times a year, and he's one of my good friends, and I value his relationship, and he's someone who's, he created the airport kiosk.
Oh, wow.
That you print out and go get your ticket
boarding
all around the whole
pass,
world, right? He also, one of the co-founders of Priceline. He started a bunch of large businesses in entertainment, and his resume is ridiculous, and it's amazing because it really shows you what's possible. And that the thing that it really showed me is that he was my first billionaire mentor. Mm-hmm. And I say my first billionaire mentor. What it really showed me is that I can still be of value to anyone with any financial level. And it's not necessarily how much money I have and how much money they have, but how much life, love, and a capacity to care and give to other people that we connected on. If I talk to him about money, that would be a turn off for him. He doesn't really like talking about money. Right. Yeah. What he loves talking about is impact. What he loves talking about is transformational ideas and concepts that are going to help move the culture forward. Yeah. And that is something that I care about too, and we connected really well on that. So I think that a lot of times when people see someone of a higher status than where they currently are, and they look at somebody and like, oh, how do I, talk to that person? How do I connect with that person? You have to understand that everybody is a person. Yeah. And we all put on our shoes the same way. We all put on our pants the same way. Yep. And we all have the same need to want to be loved, to be heard, and to have impact. And I think if you're able to take that stardom away from somebody who you are putting on a pedestal, and then look them in their eyes and be like, hey, I want to connect with you. Yeah. What's going on in your life that maybe I can help, right? And it's crazy thinking about like, oh, how can I help someone who has $1 billion or more dollars, right? What can I do for them? Oh, it's easy. I mean, like I said, your energy, your presence, right? It could be someone in their life that they know who relates to you, and you could be their light in their room, right? You could be that light for that person that they know, their cousin, their friend's cousin, right? Yep. And now you're adding value to their circle. You're making a better place, and they're going to see you as a person of value because you're helping out them, and you're helping out the people they care about.
Yeah, you keep saying things that connect back to that theme that you said at the beginning of this conversation around taking the focus off of just money alone and on the value and the impact, the energy, the human being. And I love that. It's such a necessary reminder, regardless of the situation. Also, there's a certain point of wealth that you get to where, people don't care anymore about the money. Yeah. It doesn't make any difference. Or you have a couple $100 million or $1 billion. I mean, yeah, it's a big difference, but, you could still do whatever you want, right? So, yeah.
That was an automation.
Oh my god!
That might be a good segue into automations.
That is hilarious. Yeah, I know. Whoa, my god. So that's
hour before sunset. You better get your big black ass outside. What's funny? What? That happens at conferences sometimes. Yeah. And
people laugh.
Yeah. But it's like I can't act like it's not me because people look around and it's like I'm the only one with the big black ass. And I'm. So it's like they know it's me. But where were we? So okay, I wanted to talk to you about this though. So one of the key things that I think a lot of people can do right now that can help just put everything into picture is understanding your value. Yeah. Understanding your values and understanding your value. Yeah. What are your values? Is it freedom? Is it impact? Is it love? Is it connection? Is it security? What are these values that you hold to be true?
How do people figure this out about themselves?
Books, self-awareness, and just asking yourself those questions. I mean, Tony Robbins does a really great exercise about values that you can look up. But being clear about your values makes it a lot clearer to make decisions. The clearer you are about your values, the easier it is to make decisions. When you make easy decisions that are in alignment with your values, now you're starting to get momentum, and it just clears up a lot of space. Yeah. On the same token, on the other end, when you say, what is your value? A lot of times people look at it and it's like, okay, what value do I have to give to this person? I look at it like this. Why don't you create a happy meal, like a value meal, of all the different things that you add value in people's lives? You can go to each industry, all the specific skills that you're able to do, right? And look and say, okay, I'm able to add value in these areas. I'm able to help people with marketing. I'm able to help people with real estate coaching, Airbnb coaching, these different things. You ask yourself, what are the things specifically that I'm very able to help people with and add value? What are some of the things that I'm able to do specifically to help people in their lives or in their business and their value? And write this list down, make it clear. So that way, when you go to a networking event, when you go to a meeting, when you meet someone in a specific industry, now you're able to say, hey, I can help you with this. I can help you with this.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have an exact way to help somebody, now when you grow your network, and you know somebody who's very valuable at doing this, and you meet someone who needs this, now you can make that connection, be seen as the person connecting you to, and that is value.
Yeah.
You know, I have some mentors that make millions of dollars a year just off introductions and getting a piece of a company that these two people come and put together, right? And just getting some equity. I mean, this is something that is super powerful.
Yeah.
When you start to become
people.
a connector, but it first understands of what is your value. Yeah. But then you start to understand what are other people's values. Right? What things can you do, Chris, to help in, you know, XYZ business, right? And then once I'm able to understand that, I run into John down the street, and then he's needing that. Boom, you're now a value, right? And now I am increasing my value and also your value by helping solve problems. Yep. And that's the biggest thing. The last thing I would say is about this list. You can do a happy meal list, right? A lot of times people
like this term, happy meal.
Yeah, happy meal list, right? So every day for about a year and a half, I always ask myself, how am I feeling right now? Yeah. And what could I do to feel just a little bit better? Okay. I would always ask myself this question, because if you ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? It brings awareness to your current state. And then you ask yourself, what could I do to feel just a little bit better? It doesn't matter if you're in a low vibration state or a high vibration state. Yeah. There's always something that you can do to change your energy and shift your momentum just a little bit higher. And if you're low, what are you doing right now to help your low, right? Is it your posture? Can you sit up? Can you speak with a higher tonal higher vocals, right? Yep. Can you smile? Can you raise your eyebrows? Can you move? Can you dance, right? Yeah. If you're feeling amazing, how can you feel even better? Can you be of service? Can you give? Yeah. Can you figure out a way to be grateful and praise God? Yep. Praise all the amazing things that are happening in your life, your health, your nature, whatever those things are. Yeah. And just always look for a way to elevate your vibration. The key to doing that is your brain is lazy. It's going to try to find a shortcut. And if you ask it a question all the time, how can I feel a little bit better? How can I feel a little bit better? How can I feel a little bit better? Over time, it's going to be like, okay, you can do this. And you're just automatically, naturally going to snap into higher states of vibration just by being aware of what state you are right now and how you can get a little bit better. Yeah. And doing that over and over. And I have multiple timers on my phone. So I used to do this every hour, sometimes twice an hour, where I would say, hey, how am I feeling right now? How can I feel a little bit better? All right, let's change this, do it. And I would set automations on my phone. So that way, if I tap my phone on the back 3 times, it'll say, hey, tap into your vision. You got this. Feel great. Feel good now. And then James Brown will play. And then I would dance for a minute, right? I would do these things to make sure that my vibration is higher. And that goes back to the thing I was telling you with the happy meal. What are the things that make you happy? What are the things that make you happy? And not everything that makes you happy you can do at that current time. Certain things might take an hour, 2 hours, like going on a hike, going on vacation. Those are longer term things. Sure. Shorter term things. What can you do to make you happy? Can you play with your dog for 5 minutes? Sure. Right? Can you sing a song that you like to sing for 5 minutes? Can you dance? Can you stretch? Can you loosen up a little bit? Can you read a book? Can you talk to a family member that really makes you smile? Right? Create a list. Break it down by the time of how much you have. And it's like, is it 5 minutes? Is it 1 minute? Is it 30 minutes? Is it an hour? Is it a whole day? Right? What can I do for a whole day to make me happy, right? And then based off of that, you just structure your life in a way that you are constantly doing the things that make you happy throughout the day, and also, you know, you structure your weeks and your months. So like, oh, I'm gonna do this for this whole day, and this is what really fulfills me. This really makes me happy. Giving back, serving other people. This really makes me happy. I'm gonna serve the homeless for a day, right? I'm gonna give back meals. I'm gonna do this for a day. Or it might be I only have 10 minutes. Okay, what can I do for 10 minutes? Can I call, make a phone call to my Nana, and she's going to put a smile on my face, right? It's being aware of your current state and your vibration and figuring out what do I need to do just to get a little bit better and raise my vibration.
Love it, man. Yeah, no, it's so a couple of tangible things you just talked about there. The Happy Meal itself, and having this ongoing list, or a list that you can refer to whenever about things that make you happy, so you're able to just go do them, or at least the things that are more accessible to do, or plan for bigger things. And then also the more of the asset list. It seems like, right? Like, what are you good at? What value do you bring? And these are both good tangible things that Julian just shared to really become more self-aware, and then therefore, you know, bring a better energy and value to the world and those around you. So appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
But yeah, I think that's actually a good transition. I do want to spend a little bit of time here focused on your marketing consulting. I feel like that goes in so many different directions with the stuff you do, and you know, you certainly built a great social media following, and you put out great content. So could you tell us about this marketing aspect of your entrepreneurship journey?
Yeah, so I have my degree in marketing, and it's interesting because as I got my degree, I was thinking to myself, this is cool, but by the time I use it, it's all outdated, because school's good and it teaches you about marketing, but it doesn't really teach you how to market. Now, when I was going in and doing real estate and starting to buy properties from sellers, I had to do my own marketing, and I had to set up my own CRM systems to follow up and close deals and analyze properties, and I put all that together. So I'm very, very good with software, creating stuff. I'm kind of good with coding. I'm a wizard with these kind of things as far as automations.
And you're mostly self-taught and just...
Yeah, mostly self-taught. Yeah. It comes together very easily for me.
Nice.
I think about it, and I can figure out a way how to put it together and connect the dots. So when it comes to marketing, I think a lot of people have a gap, especially or people who have sales and people who have high ticket sales, or even just any product or offering that they're trying to sell. A lot of times the weak point is in their follow-up. And what our company does, which is really good, is it helps you guys create a way to not only take the leads that come in at the top of the funnel, but nurture them through the sales process until they make a sale. And then after they get a sale, continuously add value to them and set up automation so that they feel like it's personalized, and they feel like their client feels like it's getting a lot of value. And also increasing your SEO through reviews and all these other cool things like that. And right now I've been working with a lot of sales companies on helping them automate their sales process and for their reps on their teams, and create customized outbound messages and incoming messages, even working with AI to communicate with clients to lead them to get booked to an appointment or a consultation, or even make a sale. And this is super huge, because a lot of times when you're in sales, you're always looking for the next sale. And it's sometimes annoying to always look back and follow up, but the key to any sales business is follow up. So one of my things that I help people do is create a super employee for their business, so that it automatically follows up for them, and nothing falls between the cracks, and they can focus on generating more business versus always looking in the rearview mirror, figuring out if people are closing.
For sure. Yeah, it's good you bring that up. So I've been in tech sales, right, for a number of years, and you know, this is a huge thing you learn at the beginning, in the beginning roles that you have in this career path is the follow-up. I think one of the data points I remember getting was the 13th touch is like on average, or whatever it was, how long it takes for somebody to respond to your emails, or, you know, emails and calls, touches, right? So yeah, the follow-up, it really applies to all aspects of sales, I feel like, of selling, whether it's enterprise selling to businesses or to individuals. And you know, and if you can keep adding value and be creative and not just, you know, say the same thing every time and piss people off, you can, something might click, right?
It's a lot better to create a super employee that's always going to ask the right questions and always going to follow up, and gives you more shots at the net, right? So a lot of times people, they take their first shot and then they're like, oh, this person didn't close, but now they go into the next person, they take the first shot. Sometimes, like you said, it takes 7, 8 touches. It takes adding value. Sometimes it takes them doing their own research and doing whatever, and then you always happen to come back and say, hey, I'm here for you, right?
Oh man, and it's funny. Like I had experiences really pre-COVID more, but when I would be emailing some of my target prospects so many times, and then I'd run into them. I would track them down at conferences. I knew they would be there because I'd get these attendee lists, and these are executives, right? Busy people. So it was funny the amount of times that I would meet people, and then they would say like, oh yeah, I've been getting your emails. Sorry, I haven't responded. Right? And you might be thinking along the way, like, damn, I'm pissing them off. They're not responding, whatever, right? But really, maybe they're just that busy. And so, it just shows you, like, look, it's really about putting it in front of them at the right time and convenience. Usually, it's not the right time for these people, right? But that doesn't mean they're not interested. Exactly.
And I think most people who are smart appreciate persistency.
Yeah.
Because they know if they hire you, they're going to get something that's going to help them become more persistent and close more sales.
Yep.
It's not a bad thing if someone's saying, wow, you're really persistent. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that, right? Because a lot of people aren't. They're very flaky, and they start and then they don't finish the things that they do. And they don't follow up. I follow up until either you tell me no or you tell me yes. And then even if you tell me no, I'm going to follow up with you again later and see if anything has changed. Right. So I always follow up. And especially in real estate, man, when you're talking to someone, it's like, hey, you're calling them out the blue and you're saying, hey, do you want to sell your house to me? Right. And they might not be thinking, it might be like, oh yeah, maybe in 6 months, maybe in a year. Right. Okay, but a lot of times people will just take that, write it down, and forget about it. Me, I'm going to follow up with them in 3 months. I'm going to follow up in 2 months. Hey, I know you said you were thinking about in 6 months selling, but, here, I just bought your neighbor's house, and I was able to get this for them. I'd be still considered selling.
So true.
Right? It's like, I actually was saying 6 months before, but I was thinking maybe I could do, like, earlier, 4 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And, you just never know if you don't ask.
Right.
And it's always about asking. And it's always about asking what you want. People don't ask for the close, and people are afraid to close. But I think that once you get over that barrier, that's our own mental barrier, you'll find that people are very grateful for people who follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many times do you finally get someone to respond after emailing them 10 times, and they say, I appreciate your persistence. Sorry it took so long to get back to you. Right? Yep. They start their email or whatever that way. So it's a really good pointers there. So I'm curious about how this business this marketing leads business is structured that you've built. Like, are you working with people directly on more of a consulting basis? Do you get contracted by certain organizations? How does it work?
Yeah, so I do get, people do pay me to consult for them. Typically, when they end up consulting with them, a lot of the solutions that I end up providing are solutions that we end up selling to them. And that's what we're able to offer, whether it be websites, funnels, and that's just the front end, right? But then there's the back end of like once you get the lead, how are you communicating with the lead until you close? And then even after you close, how are you fulfilling that order? How are you managing the customer's experience afterwards, right? How are you asking for leads? And, everybody has a different product, and certain products have different sales cycles. Yeah. So, I work with restaurants. I work with coaches, consultants, as far as like personal trainers, people who are business consultants and coaches. I've been in those industries. I even have gyms. Everybody has a different product, but at the end of the day, we all have customers. We all have people, and people are people. Yep. And people want to be heard, and people want to be felt like they're having a personal touch. Yeah. And depending on your cycle of your business, typically what happens is I understand exactly your sales cycle of what's going on in your business, and then we figure out, okay, what are the conversations that are redundant?
Yeah.
What are the things that you always have to stop your flow, what you're doing, to send out an email that you've sent out 20 million times, right?
Yeah.
Or you copy and paste this message that you've already sent a million times, right? How can we make that more efficient so that way you can just focus on more, one, content creation, and two, attracting and speaking to those clients.
Yeah.
And then having a system in place to book appointments for you, to ask for sales for you. So that way you can just focus on the front end and not really so much always have your mind working in the back end, but still have a very clear understanding about everything that's going on through a metrics board and everything else like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. I mean, I'm all about automation. I'm all about leveraging. And the way I have it structured right now is my team is trained very well because I train my team. And everything that I know to be efficient as possible.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're doing right now, the way I'm training my employees is through AI. Yeah. And I told them straight up, I'm like, hey, this can actually do a lot of the things that I'm asking you to do. Yeah. And I'm not, trying to replace you, because I never want to replace you. People, right. There's something that's intangible, and that's when you grow a team and people, that's different. But I would love for them to be even more efficient than they are right now. Yeah. And if they can lean on AI to become even more efficient and not replace them, but enhance them, then I think this is a huge area for opportunity. So now I'm teaching all of my employees how to utilize AI to complete tasks quicker, to work on graphics and copy and marketing and ads, so that way we could be more efficient and help more people in a less amount of time.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I assume ChatGPT is what you've mostly been working with.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. What's able to happen with ChatGPT? You can tell it, act like this. That's one of my favorite prompts. Like, act like, a real estate investor named Julian Bradley, who's 30 years old, lives in San Diego, helps people with locating the deal, finding the contractor, finding the financing, getting the permits, everything, and put together a sales page for me. Yeah. Boom. And it'll create the reasonings for the different things that I'm helping people out with and make it seem all really very clean. Yeah. And I think that this is a very powerful tool that any business can use. Any student can use. And I think that once people open up to their eyes to the possibility of what AI can do to help supplement and enhance their life, it's going to be endless. Yeah.
Dude, and you have the right mindset. I feel like, coming from somebody who works in technology, and there's this fear and debate out there of tech or certain things replacing people. But honestly, what it does is I think it really just shifts opportunity, right? Like, so many, a lot of jobs that used to be jobs for people are no longer jobs because of technology, but then they've opened up a whole another area of focus and jobs. So I believe that trend will continue regardless of what it is. And I certainly hope that's the case with this AI stuff. I'd like to be optimistic about it. Some of it seems a little scary still, I'm not gonna lie, right? But let's, I think, human beings ultimately figure it out, because it all comes down to us at the end of the day. Right.
Yeah. How resourceful are you, right? Right. I mean, everybody can complain about something that's coming that they know is coming, but it's like, okay, what are you going to do to adapt, right? Either you're going to adapt or you're going to get extinct, just like a dinosaur, right? So it's like, exactly. And it's as simple as that. And how are you going to build your teams and your company around these new market players that are potentially a threat to your industry? Could they be a threat? Maybe. But I'm always about collaboration versus competition, right? So it's like figuring out, how is this going to serve me? How can I work with this? Yeah. And what can I do to become even a better entrepreneur, be a better leader using these tools?
Nice, man. Well, bro, there's a lot of stuff you're covering right now. I want to ask you more of a personal question, but what would you say is your biggest challenge and your biggest highlight from 2022?
And that's a great question. I think the biggest challenge for me was getting out of my own way. Yeah. The biggest reward would be getting closer to God. Nice. Getting out of my own way as in stop doing the things that self-sabotage my light,
Yeah.
my love, and the things that I'm able to help others with.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm gifted.
Yep.
And I feel anointed.
Yeah.
I know God has put me on this earth to help other people. And it's so interesting because I can be my worst enemy sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Not doing the things that I know I could be doing to help the people I need to be helping. And I would say in order to have that become a place of strength, I had to go closer to him. And this is crazy because years ago, I had no relationship with God.
Yeah.
And I was born a Catholic. I thought, with all the nuns and everything, I had my experience. I didn't want to have any relationship with him. But it wasn't until I went on a spiritual journey and practiced different religions and just not even practice, just learned about different religions and experienced different things.
Yeah.
I all came full circle. Personal development was my religion for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that he's talking about in the Bible are in these books.
Yeah.
The Bible is the ultimate personal development book. And me just getting closer to God and just building my relationship with him has been one of the best things in my life to reduce stress.
Yeah.
To increase my vibration, the love that I have for myself, for others, patience for others, patience for myself, and most importantly, grace.
Yeah.
My poise, my energy.
Yep.
People can't mess up my energy.
Right.
My energy is so high, and my vibration is so high that I end up creating my vibration.
That's right.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, dude, thanks for sharing that. And man, let's get to church sometime, huh?
Yeah, for sure, man.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, dude, honestly, great conversation. A lot of good nuggets that you've shared with the audience, and I appreciate it, man.
I mean, likewise, bro.
Yeah.
It's been awesome, and I'll be blessed to come on here again, and I would love to get you on my podcast too as well.
Love that, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's make that happen. And how can people find you on social media for when this episode comes out?
Yeah, Julian Bradley TV on Instagram.
Okay.
You can go to julianbradley.com as well. Julian Bradley on YouTube, all different channels. It's all Julian Bradley TV.
Perfect.
So it's all aligned, and I hope to see you on there. And just when you come with an open mind, and just know that everything is always working out for your favor.
That's right, man. Well, yeah, you guys heard him. A lot of good stuff here. Go check him out. He's got a lot of moving pieces, and it's fun to watch. So keep it up, Julian, and I can't wait to see your continued success.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's keep growing.
Thank you. Namaste, guys.
All right.
See you on the next one.
All right. Bye, everybody.
I just don't know how.
Thank you for joining our conversation today on the Nichols and Dimes Show. Please check out and follow my podcast Instagram at Nichols and Dimes Show. I'd love to have you subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube. You can also find it on my website. I welcome and encourage any feedback you can share in the reviews so I can continue to improve and develop the show. Thanks again, and see you next time.